Shalom. First and foremost, all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High, whose name is YAHAWAH, by SHAM, YAHAWASHI, that is to say, the Most High in the name of His Son, which is YAHAWASHI. Okay, double honors to the elders and apostles of the nation of Israel, better known as the Great Millstone. Shalom and salutations to the sincere elect for teaching and rehearsing the proper doctrine. Okay, because that's what this thing is about. Okay, not variations of the doctrine. So I'm going to start off here in Psalms, the 2nd chapter, verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Most High and against His anointed, saying, Let us break their bands asunder, and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Most High shall have them in derision. Then shall He speak unto them in His wrath, and vex them in His sore displeasure. Yet have I set my King upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Most High has said unto me, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with the rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear, and rejoice with trembling. I'm going to stop there at verse 11. So, this is dealing with directly the Most High and YAHAWASHI. Okay, in verse 2 is directly dealing with them. Okay, that's who His anointed is referring to, is YAHAWASHI first and foremost. Okay, and the heathen, which are the other nations, okay, they don't want righteous rulership over them. Okay, they really don't, and that goes for 2/3 of the nation of Israel as well. And I'm going to show you that here in the book of Acts, the 4th chapter, where they quoted. Okay, so this is Acts 4:23. And being let go, they went to their own company and reported all that the chief priests and elders had said unto them. And when they heard that, they lifted up their voice to the Most High with one accord and said, Lord, Thou art the Most High, which has made heaven and earth and the sea and all that in them is, who by the mouth of Thy servant David has said, Why did the heathen rage and the people imagine vain things? The kings of the earth stood up, and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against His anointed. Okay. Yep, let's go. Let's keep reading. It says, For of a truth, against Thy holy child, YAHAWASHI. Now, remember what we read in Psalms. This is them explaining what David was talking about. Okay, at least this first portion. And verse 27. For of a truth, against Thy holy child, YAHAWASHI, whom Thou hast anointed, both Herod and Pontius Pilate with the Gentiles and the people of Israel, were gathered together for to do whatsoever Thy hand and Thy counsel determined before to be done. And now, Yahweh, behold their threatenings, and grant unto Thy servants that with all boldness they may speak Thy word, by stretching forth Thine hand to heal, and that signs and wonders may be done by the name of Thy holy child, YAHAWASHI. And when they had prayed, the place was shaken where they were assembled together, and they were all filled with the Holy Spirit, and they spake the word of Yahweh with boldness. You see, so this in particular, why did the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Why did they, where did they come up with this counsel and determine that, they can rule, basically? Okay, the Most High is going to have a stern judgment on them. Going back to Psalms, what's coming after, okay, is these people are going to be made to submit. So I'm going to segue with this into two different areas, and one of them being dealing with China, and what they've sought out to do is to launch a fake moon. Okay, so what they're planning to do in the year 2020 is to launch out this fake moon, so that it can give light at night, okay, to their people in a certain city. And they got some other things going on where they want to use lasers to destroy trash that's in space. And you can use your imagination a bit as to how this technology, if we were to keep going, if the Most High were to allow these heathen and these nations to amp themselves up, it's just going to make the destruction that much more miraculous. It's going to make it that much more majestic when the Most High destroys all that He's allowed them to build. Okay. And China, they think they're going to be the next superpower too, which that's a very far-fetched idea. Okay, but of course, who's going to believe us? Just like when this happened, you had a lot of people that didn't believe still. And the reason why is because YAHAWASHI didn't come back to deliver the kingdom at that time. So even though these the disciples and the elect, that were alive at this time, even though they were able to do all these signs and wonders and miracles, the people didn't believe because they're like, oh, this can't be them. It's some hoax and some other deity or power that they're doing this by, and we got to kill them all, because if they were really true, then the rest of this would come into its time. And they were jumping the gun. The wicked of our people and everyone else were jumping the gun and saying that because it wasn't time. The son of perdition, the wicked, wasn't revealed to them yet. Okay, it wasn't time yet. Okay, because other things had to play out, like the microchip, the mark of the beast, the 3 world wars. Okay, what else? There was another one I want to say. The time of Jacob's trouble. So they had the day of fire, the day of actual vengeance to come. That's what we're waiting for, all these things to come to pass. Okay, so they didn't believe then, so that's why there's not a lot of people that believe now. Okay, so another thing, this because it's so-called Halloween right now. Okay, so just looking up, origins of Halloween. Let's start with the Edom, because that's an important thing to start with, is the name of it itself, which basically means a holy night or a holy evening. And it's, you got to question, well, why do they call it? Why are they calling it this? Where does this come from? Okay, and as you can see, hopefully you're reading ahead. So I'm going to start here in the middle. Halloween, or Hallow Eve, is the evening previous to the celebration of All Saints. That it is propitious to the rites of divination, is an opinion still common in many parts of Scotland. There's a main footnote to his poem, Hallow Ian. Okay, is a Scottish shortening of All Hallow Even, or Eve of All Saints, the last night of October, the last night of the year in the old Celtic calendar, where it was Old Year's Night, a night for witches, a pagan holiday given cursory baptism, otherwise obsolete. A hallow, noun, holy person or saint, is from the source of hallow. Also see even and compare hallows. Hallow Day for All Saints' Day is from the 1590s. Earlier was Hall Wemes Day from the late 13th century. So that's a little information there. But basically, when you read up on it, a lot of it is said to go back to the ancient Celts. It says about 2,000 years ago, that is now Ireland, the United Kingdom, and northern France celebrated their year on November 1st. Okay, so that's not that's really not the beginning of the year when the dead of winter is coming right around the corner. So you can just see the madness of people, right? But they also called it a Saint's Day. Well, there's nothing saintly about it, because when you go into it, even and this is one thing I doubt the Christians are really getting into, because there's a Christian influence on Halloween. Okay, and this is on Wikipedia. Okay, Halloween is the evening before the Christian holy days of All Hallows Day, also known as All Saints or Hallow Mass, on 1st of November. Now, this guy Vocab Malone, that devil, he's got a real buzzword mentality. So anytime he hears the word mass, all he thinks of is Catholics. Well, what about Massachusetts? Okay. What about just the word massive? Okay, he's very this has got to be this. Well, this is a Christian using the word mass. And he would say, oh, it must be. He accused someone of being a Catholic. Just because of that word, right? So it's a buzzword for him anyway. I'm going to read on ahead a little bit. It says, since the time of the early church, major feasts in Christianity, such as Christmas, which that's bullshit, Easter, which they celebrate that with eggs and bullshit, and Pentecost, had vigils that began the night before, as did the Feast of All Hallows. These 3 days are collectively called All Hallowed Tide, and are a time for honoring the saints and praying for the recently departed souls who have yet to reach heaven. Now that's bullshit. Where in the scriptures does it say it takes time to get there? Where does it say that there's some travel and you got to pray that they get in there? That's not in the scriptures. The scriptures tell you very clearly. Okay, in Ecclesiastes, the spirit goeth upward to the Most High. Okay, the spirit of man goeth upward to the Creator, and the spirit of the beast goeth down to the earth. Okay, so that's where they get that from is all the worship of men, basically. Now that's basically what you learn out of this. Now a lot of this also goes back to Rome, because Rome took over the Celts and they started integrating their own thing into it. Okay, as it said here, by 43 AD, the Roman Empire had conquered the majority of Celtic territory. In the course of the 400 years that they ruled the Celtic lands, 2 festivals of Roman origin were combined with the traditional Celtic celebration of Samhain. I think there's another way you're supposed to pronounce that, but who cares? So you see what the Romans were doing is what America does, where they were heaping unto themselves all people, all nations and all people. Okay, that's in, I believe, Habakkuk, okay? Or Habakkuk, however you want to pronounce it. So that's what America has done, or at least the so-called white man has done, okay? Because the Romans were Edomites too. And that's why you see the spread to North America also, which tonight, I guess in New York, there's a big Halloween parade, the Greenwich Village Halloween parade. Okay, so you're going to have a bunch of adults out there, doing the Thriller, and that, of course, no one's watching it. Everyone's going to be watching it through their phone. So really, no one is really there watching it. They're all watching it through their phone rather than actually soaking it in. So whatever with that, that's another funny thing about people. Okay, it says Leslie Bannatyne and Cindy Ott both write the Anglican colonists in the southern United States and Catholic colonists in Maryland recognized All Hallows Eve in their churches and their church calendars, although the Puritans of New England maintained strong opposition to the holiday, along with other traditional celebrations of the established church, including Christmas. Almanacs of the late 18th and early 19th century give no indication that Halloween was widely celebrated in North America. It was not until mass Irish and Scottish immigration, there goes that mass, right? Watch out, vocab. Immigration in the 19th century that Halloween became a major holiday in North America. Confined to the immigrant communities during the mid-19th century, it was gradually assimilated into mainstream society, and by the first decade of the 20th century, it was being celebrated coast to coast by people of all social, racial, and religious backgrounds. And really that goes into, just the market. It's a money grab. All candy, costumes, decorations, lights, it's all a big money grab. So everyone's going to be working, and getting money out of this, basically. Everyone, all the way down to the people that do your garbage and recycling, they're going to be having to work a little harder too, just because of all the shit you're about to throw away the next day. It's like that scene in The Grinch when he said, presents. It's always about presents. You know where they end up? They all end up to me. And where did he live? At the top of a trash pile. So every year he got everyone's shitty gifts. And it's the same thing with this. All this stuff, man, come on. Who's going to hang on to an old costume? You got to get a new costume for the next year, right? Can't be the same shit every year. So same thing with Christmas is coming up. Okay, it says candles that have been blessed were placed on graves, and families sometimes spent the entire night at the graveside. Which that's just dumb. Nowhere in the scriptures, and that's Cajun, right? And a lot of, even the so-called Mexicans, tribe of Issachar, they have, Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. And they do that dumb shit too, But a lot of that comes from, influence of the heathen, So why do the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing, man? Basically they're trying to take away from life, and they're over here worshiping and celebrating death when life is to be celebrated, man. That's why these people have their new year in the dead of winter, January 1st. It's still fucking winter, man. December, January, February, those are all the winter months. Spring is the beginning of the year. That's the beginning of the year, man, is when spring starts. Get an almanac and you can follow it. So, Rome and America are the same. The same people that were ruling Rome as the majority and calling all the shots, the so-called white men, okay, Edomites, then and now. But the difference is that now, the Most High, He's actually going to make the move now. So these people, they're going to be able to see the rest of Psalms, the 2nd chapter. Okay? This is, from verse 9 on down, is about to be fulfilled, which this is a representation of Revelation. Okay? Ruling the nations with a rod of iron, to dash them into shivers. Okay? It says, be wise now therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling, because the nation that will not serve thee, okay, shall perish. They're not going to get no water for their crops to bring in their tribute to us. And our gates are going to be open all the time for you people bringing your tribute, man. It says, kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and he perish from the way. See? When his wrath is kindled, but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. You see? So these people, they're really not trusting it. If this massive population of Christians, how many Christians are in the world, man? They're like the #1 religion, right? Now, what's funny? That synagogue that got shot up in Pittsburgh or whatever, there was a group of Muslims that raised money for the victims. Where were the Christians at raising money? The Christians are still busy trying to destroy the Muslim their Muslim faith, but the Christians aren't running to the side of their neighbors, even though the Muslims and the Jews and the Christians clash. Hey, look at the Muslims are at least have some sort of sense of charity about them. You know, I'll give them that little notch. You know, but where are you so-called good-ass Christians coming forth? And where's your mainstream title? You know, well, why didn't I read about you guys first? Why did I read about them first, man? Okay, so look at this is coming to pass. So you have you know, these nations that are thinking that no wrath is going to come, and you have the generations every year that are raising children and teaching them these heathenistic ways. But you know what? I'll say this, man. Today on my way home, I didn't see a lot of decorated homes. I didn't see a lot of carved pumpkins. I didn't see a lot of that stuff, man. I don't even think there's going to be a lot of people out trick-or-treating tonight, man. You know? I know last year nobody came knocking on my door, you know? And hopefully it's the same thing this year too, man. But anyway, that's what I wanted to tap into, you know? So hopefully the elect were fed, edified, and just kind of some food for thought, and maybe it, you know, roused up a couple brothers, you know, to do a lesson or just have something to mention on as an matter of fact piece, you know, anywhere. But yeah, you heathen are going down. Enjoy your little folly days while you can, because you're not going to be able to keep celebrating these things. You know, the market is getting worse. Okay, inflation is about to go up, and you have you know, the border wars going on. There's so much stuff going on, man. I can see why a lot of people aren't really giving a shit about Halloween, you know, because they still got their Thanksgiving, their Christmas, and their New Year's coming up. So, man, it's about to be a bumpy couple of months for you people, man. So, anyway, with that, Shalom.